mobile data is quite high. I can also see what I've used by week and by month. We go into week, I've used about 510 MB so far this week. Below it, I'll also now be able to see over that same time period how much each individual app has used. So for example, Lazada, I've used about 120 MB, Instagram about 90 MB, and Snapchat about 51 MB. So this information helps me understand when and how my mobile data is being used, and also gives me some insight into which particular apps I like to focus on to control their background data. And so that's where Data Saver comes in. Go back to the home screen, and there's two places where I can turn on our Data Saver feature. The first is this toggle that you'll see on the home screen, and the second is the persistent toggle that you'll see at the bottom of our Manage Data tab. I'll turn it on, and now all of a sudden Data Saver is blocking mobile data for 62 apps. And you'll also notice on the right side of all the individual apps a lock. And those locks represent whether or not Data Saver is blocking mobile data for those particular apps. So whereas before these apps were able to use background data and potentially take away data that I otherwise want to use for other apps, I can now be sure that these apps are only using data when I want them to. I can also whitelist a particular app to be able to use background data. So I'm going to let Gmail use background data, and now it's allowed to use it. I'm going to turn it back on. And I'll also enable Spotify to use background data in case I want to download some songs. We've also heard from users, though, they want to be able to understand and control their mobile data while they're using apps. It's often hard to know exactly how much data you're using as you're using that particular app. So we've designed a really cool feature to be able to do that. I'm going to exit Datally. I'm going to open up Instagram. So as I'm browsing Instagram, you're going to see something pop up on the right-hand side of your screen. And it's what we call our Data Saver bubble. And that bubble is going to give me real-time information about how much data I've used during that particular session. So it's gone up to about 2 MB. I'm just going to browse through some other stories, some good pictures of breakfast, and the Golden State Warriors, my favorite team. Let's go back up here, and you see it just popped over to 3 MB. Let's use a little bit more. It might tick back up. And I'm going to actually switch over. There it goes to 4 MB. I'm going to switch over to another app for a sec. I'm going to go over to Lazada. So it loads up. And you see again the Data Saver bubble pops up, and it's tracking for me exactly how much data I've used during this particular session. I'm just going to browse around. I've still got some Christmas shopping to go. See what I can find. Maybe a bike. Clothes. As I scroll around, the Data Saver bubble keeps ticking up. So if I get a little bit concerned about how much data I'm actually using, it just went up to 8 MB, it's going pretty fast. I can go in, it'll tell me at any time how much data I've used during that particular session. And so even though Lazada was allowed to use background data, you might have seen in the Datally app, when I open up Datally, it's allowed to use data in the foreground because I want it to. But if it's using too much data, I can open up the Data Saver bubble and now block Lazada from using mobile data. And you'll see that lock button. I'm going to re-allow mobile data for Lazada.